y'all. Welcome back to Blissful-Faith. My name is Devin Janae, and today I'm going to tell you a story, okay? This story is based on our monthly topic of forgiving yourself. Last week we had a Bible study, and it was based around forgiving yourself because this is the monthly topic, okay? We also have a blog from last week that I would love for you to read. It's called 5 Steps in Forgiving Yourself God's Way, as well as the free resources we have created for our monthly study, and it's called the Forgiving Yourself Mini Bundle. So I would love it if you go ahead and check that out because it is designed to help you to take some steps in forgiving yourself, right? And I placed some techniques in there for you to be able to forgive yourself. It's not a long mini bundle. None of the mini bundles are really long, but they are short, sweet, and to the point to get you on the process of starting to forgive yourself with God. Okay? So, without further ado, let's get into this story time, y'all. So, this story takes place, y'all, when I was 17 years old. Because at the time, I was dealing with this guy, and I thought this guy was the one for me. I sort of kind of thought. I'm not going to say I thought all the way. I sort of kind of thought this guy was the one for me because, we had a little thing going on. So, I also had this feeling like, girl, he is not the one. You is 17. And while God can, write people love story from when they're teenagers, that just wasn't my anointing. He just wasn't doing that for me. So I was just like, okay, I'm getting this weird feeling like maybe he not. So let me go ahead and pray. Now, I didn't know the Lord like I do now. But I knew I could go to him, and I knew he would answer if I would, reach out. So I had, pick up the phone. I said, God, is he the one for me? We're going to call him Nameless. I was like, God, is Nameless the one for me? And y'all, when I tell you, God answered me immediately. So I ended up putting clothes on and getting in my mama car, the car I was using at the time. And I drove all the way across town to this neighborhood that I knew well. And I ended up parking on side of this random house. So I'm looking like, who house this is? Why am I here? And what is this for? Now I knew it was the Lord that had led me there, but I never asked him. I never sat there and said, God, who house is this? I didn't ask him, but I'm thinking this to myself. Who house is this? Why am I here? Blah, blah, blah. So I did ask God. I'm like, okay, God, why am I here? So he was just like, just sit here. Just sit here. Now, how it was set up, the house, it was facing like, so I'm not even going to try to describe it. Basically, I could see what's going on around in front of the house. But in order for them, if somebody was to come out the house, they wouldn't be able to see me unless they walked around the corner. So it was a perfect, setup to just, be there, because it was not like I was in front of nobody's house or even on their property. I was in like kind of like a field, but I could see the house. So I ended up asking him, like, God, like, why I'm here? And he ain't say nothing. So I'm sitting there for like 5-10 minutes just wondering why I'm here. I'm looking at the house. I'm feeling real weird because I'm just like, I'm sitting on in like a field. And it's like I'm having a stakeout. And I'm like, this is weird for me. So I'm thinking I'm going to see somebody come out the house, X, Y, and Z. Didn't see nothing. And then next thing you know, I hear the Lord say, go home. So I start that call. I go home. But the whole time I'm wondering, on a 10 to 15 minute drive, I'm just like, God, why was I there? Like, I'm thinking to myself, whose house was that? And I get home. I think this was on a Friday. I get home. I didn't really inquire the Lord about nothing else. I just went about my business. You know what I'm saying? He gonna tell me when he ready. That's how I was. I was like, well, he gonna say it when he ready, I guess. And baby, when I got to school on Monday, baby, it was not tea. It was not coffee, baby. It was straight liquor. Okay? It was Hennessy. It was hot and hard to swallow. Okay? Hard to drink. Because, baby, what I found out is that was Nameless ex-girlfriend house. And I didn't find out through Nameless. I didn't find out through the ex-girlfriend. I found it out from people talking about it. Now, that's so humiliating, y'all. Like, You thinking you with this guy, you like him, and then you end up finding out, not even by eavesdropping, but by overhearing somebody telling another person that your boyfriend, your guy, nameless, is over by his ex-girlfriend house. I'm just like, baby, no, that ain't true. Like, so I ain't want to listen to the gossip. I said, you know what? That's my boyfriend. I'm gonna ask him myself. So, we seen each other or whatever, and I'm and I'm talking to him, and I end up asking him like, oh, were you at so and so's house on Friday? He was in lying to me. He said, well, first he said no. I said, so you wasn't over there? I had got a little belligerent. I ain't gonna lie. I just got a little, cause he was lying. Don't lie to me. So I ended up saying, so you went over there by, I got a little loud, and he was like, yeah, I was over there. I had to go get my stuff. And then she started talking about us being friends. We started discussing it. And then I started helping her with these, her family, her mom and daddy getting a divorce. Something along those lines, y'all. It was when I was 17. I'm 27 now. That was 10 years. This story 10 years old. And but when I tell you, it's 10 years from when that happened, but it affected me. It trailed onto my young adult years, okay? And I'm gonna get to that, but I just gotta build it up for you. So he ended up telling me that, and he lied at first. That had threw me off a little bit, and then he told me the truth. So I'm thinking like, okay, mind you, I'm thinking the whole time exes can't be friends, especially when they have done stuff, right? You can't be friends with your ex now if y'all still got no soul ties. But I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. But did I break up with him? No, I did not. I did not break up with him. Okay? I did not. I still was with the guy. And I ended up being with him from ages 17 to 21. Not consistently, but off and on, right? I ended up being with him. And this relationship, y'all, it resulted in property damage, domestic violence, emotional abuse, a soul tie between me and him, and me wanting revenge for the things that he had done. Now, I didn't tell y'all this certain part, and what led us to actually be together before the prayer of God, is this the one? Before God led me to the house, all of that. So let me tell y'all that, because if I'm gonna tell it, I need to tell it all, and I don't care how it makes me look, because I have grown as a woman today because of that young girl that I once was, and I had to go back and forgive her, which we're going to get into. This is the whole reason why I'm telling you this story, so that I can, build it up, so that you can understand how to actually go about forgiving yourself, what the Lord had to take me through. So I went into the situation all wrong. I went into the situation which I did something that I had deeply regretted, which made me be with him, right? So at first, I did not like him at all. I wasn't even friends with him. I was friends with one of his friends, and he ended up coming around, right? So that led to us talking, and him telling me about some certain things in his life, and his little girl problems, you know what I'm saying? Like all the little stuff that was going on in his world. So his ex-girlfriend was around, because we were always all in the same grade. Like I told you, it was before we started talking, me and Nameless. So his ex-girlfriend got whiff of me and him talking, but we were friends, me and Nameless. I wouldn't even say we was friends. We was talking. You know how teenagers do. They just talk, And she kept saying to one of my friends, oh, they together. Oh, they together. Oh, they together. And my friend was like, no, they not. Devin is not checking for Nameless. And I was just like tired of hearing through the grapevine that this young lady was talking about me. And then it went from her talking about me and him being together to her talking really bad about me and being really ugly. So I said, you know what? My little 17-year-old behind was like, okay, since you talk about me, I'm going to give her something to talk about. Oh, yeah. Now I'm about to pretend to like him. Now I'm about to take him from you. Now I'm about to get your man. Okay, since you think I want him, I'm about to show you how I'm about to show you how I want him. Okay? So I ended up being dirty, right? And I went and I started, talking to him. And I ended up falling in love. So I was being dirty, ended up, falling for my own tricks. I was acting like I liked him, and then I actually started to like him, right? Which led me to pray that prayer to the Lord. And then he led me to that, and I ended up staying, and I ended up being with him from 17 to 21 off and on, right? So the reason why I even, stayed is because I was dealing with rejection a lot, and I even was rejected by the two people that were supposed to give me unconditional love. They were dealing with their own stuff, and I honestly just wanted somebody to love me. Now, there were other guys, and there were other people pursuing me when I was 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, but that wasn't what I picked. Nameless is the person I had picked. I also was being dirty and ended up falling in love, like I had said. Or falling in deep like, I don't know. It might have not been love because, baby, the Lord show you real love. And, you don't really know real love till you get to the Lord, right? But, yeah, I ended up, picking him. And, honestly, everybody, including the Lord, had warned me, like, that's not the person for you. That's not the person for you. And every time I would be with him, something would happen. Somebody would tell me. I would have this bad feeling. And I ignored the Lord when he led me to be on the side of the girl house. I ignored the Lord's conviction every time. I ended up giving myself away to this guy when I was in college. Now, I didn't do nothing in high school, but in college is when I gave myself to him. Because I thought the only way this guy would really, really love me and stay with me and not cheat on me no more is if I give him something that nobody else could give him, which is my body. I gave this guy my body when I was in college so that he would pick me, so that he would truly love me, so he would know that I loved him. When the whole time I wanted to save myself for marriage. So any young girl, any older lady, you still are, you still holding on to your virginity. I would encourage you to keep it and allow God to write your love story. Because God tells us to keep our virginity, whether you're male or female, because fellas, you're not exempt from this. They say, fellas, go sow your royal oats and all this stuff, but fellas, this is for you too. I would encourage anybody to keep their virginity because the Lord tells us to save that for the container of marriage. Why? Because one, he wants to keep his daughters and sons from getting hurt, and he wants to protect his daughters and sons' memory. I wouldn't have had the memory of getting hurt by this guy. I wouldn't have had the memory of being dirty, trying to get at his ex-girlfriend. I wouldn't have had the memory of the property that was damaged. I wouldn't have had the memory of this guy cheating on me getting my heart broken and fighting him and all of this stuff if I would have listened to the Lord. If I would have kept my virginity. If I would have allowed the Lord to show me his love so that I wouldn't think that I had to fill the void this way with a guy who did not know love and was not loved toward me. I would have been able to receive the love from God so that I can give it to myself and then display it unto others, right? So if you still have your virginity, Or if you are saving yourself, now save yourself until marriage so that you can get the love from God that you deserve. And let me tell you something. You are worth the wait, whether you have your virginity or not. Being out here in these streets or just with somebody you think you love is not worth it. It's not worth having sex outside of the container of marriage because it's not meant for that. It's meant to be in the container of marriage. And God, he didn't put that law in there to hurt you or deprive you of anything. He put that law in place to protect you, and because he wants to give you he wants to give you everything that's pure and sacred. And in the container of marriage is where that is pure and sacred, right? So I'm going to just keep going. That was for somebody, because as a young woman, I wish I understood the reason, because I was told to keep your virginity, but I didn't know why. I was told that I should have sex after I get married, but I didn't know why, right? And I'm sure that there's more reasons, but that's the reason that I know, because God is such a loving father that he would want the memories. He would want you looking back on your life and like, wow, my father really protected me. My father really showed me real love and true love. My father really brought this man or this woman into my life as an extension of his love to me. And I am safe, so I can open up. I can open up to this man. I can really open up to this woman. And it's so sacred and so pure in the container of marriage, right? Like I said, I'm going to keep going because I just wanted to say that piece because I didn't. And I know now as a woman and not a girl how special that is, how sacred that is. And I know more about the Lord to be able to say he was protecting me. He was protecting him. Right? Because it wasn't just about me. It's about him too, right? And I'm saying that to say it's not just about the woman, it's about the man too. Okay. So, let's get to the point where I had a hard time forgiving myself. Okay. So, remember I told you how I went into it? Trying to get back at her, pretending I liked the guy, pretending that I wanted him, ended up falling in love with him. That was one. Remember how I told you that, he was cheating on me, and I still ended up giving him my virginity after the Lord had showed me that he was by his ex-girlfriend house? That was another one. And then there was so many other things in that span of from 17 to 21 that had happened, and the Lord was constantly telling me, baby, this is not for you. Baby, this is not for you. Baby, this is not for you. I knew that it was God each time he was nudging me. I knew it, but still chose to ignore him. Still chose to give myself away to him. Still chose to walk in my own will. Granted, I didn't know the Lord like I do today, but I knew it was him. I knew he was telling me. I knew I was having bad feelings. I knew I was being convicted. And I chose to go my own way because I desperately wanted love. So that opened me up to a lot of shame. That opened me up to a lot of condemnation. That opened me up to a lot of guilt. And God started putting me in places and in spaces to where I had a community of women who would pour into me. I could pour into them, all of this stuff. And one day I found myself in a conversation with this particular lady, and the setting was very intimate. I was having a conversation with her. I don't remember the question she asked me, but I do remember my response. And I had told her, I was like, I deserve to be punished for that. I didn't tell her everything that I'm saying right now. She didn't know any of this. I told her something that had to do with this, and I had told her I don't deserve forgiveness. I deserve to be punished for all the things that I have said, all the things that I have done within that. She didn't go deeper into that with me because I think the Lord had changed the subject, honestly, because he knew I wasn't ready to go into that like that. She didn't ask me any other questions, but she did ask me something to make, basically, not even to make me, that led me to confess that I don't deserve his forgiveness, and I deserve to be punished, because I really thought that. I thought that I deserved, because of how I went into this relationship, because I kept ignoring the Lord, I really believed that I deserved to be punished, not just for the situation, but for the rest of my life. That everything bad that had happened to me between that time and where I was, I deserved every bit of that. And I never deserved to be forgiven because of what I had done. And y'all, God, people say that God is good, but God is truly good. And I know it for myself because he didn't let me stay in that. He didn't let me stay in a situation thinking that I deserve to be punished. He led me to one, receive his forgiveness. Right? And when I started to go to him, he put the mirror in front of me. Because I was, like I said, I was praying for revenge. I think I said that. I was praying for revenge for Nameless. I wanted Nameless to hurt like I was hurting. For cheating on me, for the property damage, for the domestic violence, for the emotional abuse. And I wasn't no angel in the situation either. I was dogging him too. I was doing all kind of stuff. Saying all kind of stuff. Doing things that's outside of my character. I was doing it because I was in a very ugly and dark place. But I couldn't see past my hurts and my feelings. So I started praying to God for revenge. I wanted him to hurt. You hear me? So in the midst of that, God was showing me my heart. And he was showing me how, Devin, you wasn't an angel in this either. And he was doing it in such a gentle, loving way. He was showing me, you have to take accountability for the part you played in this. You have to forgive yourself for the part you played in this. And I'm going to show you how. First, you need to receive my forgiveness. Because you don't deserve to be punished. There is a natural consequence to the things that you have done, but I'm not sitting here punishing you. That's not what I do. When you go against me, there's a natural consequence. When you sin, there's a natural consequence that happens. Because the law of sin equals death. I'm not out to get you. I'm not sitting here orchestrating no things for you to hurt because of things you have done when you was a child. I'm not doing that. He's like, I'm here with my arms stretched wide open, allowing you to see and feel this conviction because I want you to know how much I love you and how much I want you to return back to me, to repent, to turn and see that this is beneath the God-given character that I've given you. This is beneath my design for you. So God was showing me, Dev, you are not guilty. You are not the guilty. You are not punished indefinitely. I paid the price for your forgiveness. So he nursed me to be able to accept it to the point where I was able to receive it for myself and see myself as someone who wasn't just all bad. I wasn't all bad and I wasn't all good either. To the point where I started praying for Nameless, not for revenge for Nameless, but so Nameless could see God the way in love, because he was doing things to me and other women and even to himself because he didn't know who he was either. He didn't know who God was either. Him relationship should have been a high and by. That's all that should have been. But because it wasn't, God needed to show me, even in the midst of the hurt and the pain, that that's still my son too. You my daughter, I love you, but that's still my son too. So he led me to stop praying for revenge and start praying over his life according to his word for him. Because again, that was his son too. And that's a deep work, y'all. Like, because when you are hurt, all you can see is your hurt. When you are feeling real guilty about something you did, all you can see is your guilt. You cannot do it on your own. You can't do it on your own. You can't get up out of that by yourself. You have to allow God to come in and show you who he is and who you are in him. Right? So even if you have ignored God before and you've done things that you know wasn't right, there is still forgiveness available for you. And I know that so well because it happened with me. It happened for me. It happened to me. And this wasn't the only situation. Now, this was a huge one. From 17 to 21. And then after that, I had to start healing. And that was painful. Because the healing, listen, if you was to ever, I never broke a bone. Never broke a bone. But I have gotten a tooth pulled. Right? I've gotten a tooth pulled. In my opinion, that is the worst pain ever. Now, I don't know how it feels to give birth to a child or nothing, but so far in my life, that tooth pain, being pulled, listen, you may be numbed up and you can feel the pressure, but baby, when that medicine wear off, baby, that tooth be hurting, you barely could eat, nothing. That's some pain there. But when you start to heal, that pain, that's the healing pain. You had the initial pain when your wisdom tooth was growing, which I don't know why they pulled wisdom teeth, because baby, that's another story though. But the wisdom teeth is painful growing, so you go get it out, and then when the medicine wear off from you getting it out, that's the healing portion. So it's gonna hurt too. When you go through something, you get hurt. But when you healing, you're going to get hurt. You're going to be hurt too, because the healing may just be a little bit worse than the pain, the initial pain. So if you ever broke a bone, that might have hurt it. Or you might not even have felt it because of the adrenaline was so high in your body. But when when they, snap that bone back in place, and you go through that healing portion, it's going to hurt. So take your time with God and let God lead you. You have to get the forgiveness from God, give it to yourself, and then extend it to somebody else. And that story was just a story of the time where I held myself hostage in unforgiveness. And it was a while. Like I said, this story took place from when I was 17 to 21. That's when I was in the relationship. The situationship, from 17 to 21. So after 21, well, not even after 21 to whatever age, I was healing from that relationship. And every single time I slip up and do something that is opposite of what God has told me, or my God-given character, and he convicts me on it, I have to actively forgive myself again. So I have to get his forgiveness, give it to myself, and then extend it to others, right? This is a constant process of deciding to release yourself from that guilt and shame, and then release others from the debt. First, by getting it from God. It's a constant, I'm going to say that again. It's a constant process of forgiveness. Is a constant process of receiving forgiveness from God. And you can be receiving by remembering what he has done for you, and remembering that he already paid this price for you, accepting that over and over and over again, to then be able to take that key unlock yourself out the cuffs of guilt and shame, or keep on allowing your door to be closed, because shame, guilt, and condemnation is going to come. Releasing yourself and then releasing others from the debt that they did to you. Okay? That's what forgiveness is. I'm going to say it again. I feel like I need to say it again. Forgiveness is the constant decision to get from God, to receive from God, to receive the forgiveness from God by remembering what he has done for you and accepting what he has done for you, to then turn to yourself to give that to yourself, and that might take you releasing guilt, shame, and condemnation, or keeping yourself from being in their midst, keeping them outside the door, not letting them in, to turning to and extending that same forgiveness to somebody else who has done wrong to you, who have sinned against you, releasing them from the debt. And this is not a very seamless process, but the order is God, you, then them, because you will never be able to forgive somebody truly if you don't allow God to help you to forgive yourself. Okay? So this process, again, is not as seamless as I'm saying it, because doing the work is very messy. That hard work, baby, that hard work is messy, and it will take time. Healing is not fast. It's gradual. We may have instant gratification with everything else, but that healing, baby, that's a slow burn. You will be up, down, in between. You may want revenge on somebody else. You may not want to forgive yourself. You may be like, I don't know, God, about this. But keep going in it. Keep allowing yourself to feel the feelings. Keep allowing yourself to think in the actually go through the motions with God. Not by yourself, with God. Because this is not a matter of walking by yourself, doing this by yourself. When you gave your life to Christ, you gave your life to Christ. Right? Your life wasn't given to Christ for you to take it back again. And let me tell you something. Those who you think they are perfect and they are, Christian and, nothing gets done. Oh, you just got to forgive. You need to forgive yourself as well, sir or ma'am. And you need to stop telling people that they just need to forgive and start telling them how. And if you don't know how, quiet down, please. Because so many people are in a trap right now thinking that they have to forgive others, and they holding themselves bondage. You cannot forgive others if you haven't truly forgiven yourself. The Bible does not explicitly say anything about forgiving yourself. But the principle is, with the scripture, let me use this scripture. God says the first commandment is love your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. He said the second commandment that is equally important is to love your neighbor as yourself. You cannot love your neighbor unless you love yourself. You cannot love yourself unless you love your God. You cannot even love God unless you go to him to receive the love so he can show you how to love him. Then he shows you how to love yourself. Then he shows you how to love others. That love he gives you, you give it to yourself, and it flows onto others. The same principle applies with forgiveness. You cannot forgive another person truly if you are still holding yourself bondage, because you see and perceive the world based on your interpretations and your perception of yourself. Okay? So in order to really forgive another person, it has to be in the order in which God has placed it. Getting forgiveness from him as many times as you need. As many times, okay? Getting the forgiveness from him, allowing him to show you how to receive it for yourself, because that's another thing too. You have to allow him. This is all the process of walking with God. Allowing him to show you how to receive it for yourself, and then allowing that overflow. And you will be able to then extend it to others. I wrote it this way. Um, in my with my email list. And if you are not a part of the email list, I encourage you to get on that email list and join the community, okay? I wrote it this way, and then I'm going to be done with this, y'all. I'm going to be done, all right? We're going to be done. So, this is how I wrote it. I said, if I have an apple tree, and I want to give you some apples. I'm talking to you and I'm like, okay, the apples are coming in and I know this is going to be a big harvest. I want to give you some apples. And you're like, okay, well, the apples that you give to me, I'm going to share with my friend because my friend really loves apples. And, my friend been talking about making an apple pie. And I'm just like, okay, it's going to be more than enough so I can share with, so a lot of people. So harvest season comes. I go pick the apples. And I tell you, I'm going to drop it off to you. In order for you to even get the apples to your friend, I got to bring you the apples from the tree. This is how it is with God. God, that was, my story. Hopefully, God will be able to use these broken pieces, okay? And give you something from these broken pieces of my little testimony, okay? So that you can be able to know that it is possible to be set free of the bondage of unforgiveness of self. Just like he did for me, he can do it for you. So allow him to walk you through whatever valley he got to walk you through. You deserve forgiveness because of Christ and what he has done for you. Come out of the cage. Come out of the bondage of unforgiveness and walk in forgiveness of self. It's time for you to take a step to forgive yourself. And it starts by talking to God about your situation. Okay? That's the start of it. Talk to God about your situation. Like I said at the beginning of the video, last week we had a Bible study. Gave you 2 steps in that Bible study. We also have a blog from last week, and we'll have a blog. We have a blog that I just released yesterday, and there are jewels up in that as well, with steps to take to forgive yourself, as well as the free resource, the Forgiving Yourself mini bundle, where there are techniques to be able to take the steps of forgiving yourself with God. Thank y'all for listening to this story. I hope everything made sense because there's a lot to recall. I am 27 years old now, and that was from when I was younger. So hopefully I was able to tell it in a concise way to where you can understand. And if not, God will still use it, okay? So thank y'all again for watching, and always remember that you're destined to win because he got up. Check the links down in the description down below and get your goodies, get your resources, and join the community. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as well. All right, I will see y'all next week.